Guys, I've spoken quite a bit about CARON TABAC EXQUIS. This is it right here. I did a full review of it and also featured it in a video. The original fragrance was in 50 ml and it was sent to me for a review by Fragrance By. But I loved it so much, I actually bought another bottle, especially since I finished the first bottle. I've kind of stopped wearing it, but I feel like the fragrance is still great because I get to, experience a lot more fragrances. But CARON also has 3 additional fragrances that are tabac or tobacco inspired. One of which is Tabac Noir, this one right here, which is one that I recently purchased and I'm going to talk to you about. But in addition to these 2 fragrances, CARON also has Tabac Blanc. It's the most recent launch for them. And also their classic Tabac Blonde, which was launched in the early 1900s. In today's video, though, I'm going to compare and let you know about Tabac Exquis, super delicious tobacco, against Tabac Noir. Find out all about them coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's Sebastian. I'm talking about CARON, Tabac Exquis, Tabac Noir. Let me know if you're familiar with these 2, and also let me know if you're familiar with Tabac Blanc and Tabac Blonde. Which is your favorite? And since I did my video for Tabac Exquis, have you been able to get your nose on it? It is super, super delicious, guys. One of the best tobacco fragrances out there. It's a gourmand tobacco. I guess the idea might be similar to tobacco vanilla, but different still. Like, they're completely different in that Tabac Exquis from CARON is quite chocolatey, and that's what I like about it. It makes it very gourmand, whereas tobacco vanilla from the house of Tom Ford, I feel like kind of gets too close to becoming like a gourmand, but doesn't completely accomplish it, doesn't completely get there, but still a really, really delicious fragrance here with this. So I was so excited and have promoted Tabac Exquis, I decided to buy Tabac Noir. And I had initially smelled the whole collection in France at a CARON shop, and I had forgotten about it. So am I enjoying Tabac Noir as much as I enjoyed Tabac Exquis? I should say I'm not enjoying it as much as Tabac Exquis, but still a really, really great fragrance. And if you like the idea of a honey tobacco, Tabac Noir would suit you perfectly. And also the comparison of these 2 fragrances from CARON to another 2 fragrances from Serge Lutens, I think would be appropriate. I would say that Tabac Noir from CARON is sort of similar to the idea of Serge Lutens' Fumerie Turque. I don't know if you can read that there. Fumerie Turque is actually a bit superior compared to Tabac Noir, but also Serge Lutens has Écrin de Fumée, which is chocolatey, and I would say it's kind of sort of in that same ballpark as Tabac Exquis. But in this case, I prefer the CARON over the Serge Lutens. Does that make sense? So if you're familiar with the Serge Lutens, which is a brand that's a bit more hyped and it's a bit more famous, I should say, then you kind of have an idea of what these 2 fragrances are all about from CARON. So, okay, let's talk about Tabac Noir since I've spoken quite a bit about Tabac Exquis. Tabac Noir features notes of honey, tonka beans, Balkans tobacco, Cistus labdanum, leather, patchouli, papyrus, cedar, pepper, and vanilla. So these notes are pretty prominent, but I feel like I get a lot of honey, for sure the tobacco, ambery touches and leather touches comes in. But I felt like comparing Tabac Noir to Tabac Exquis, which is the gourmand tobacco, Tabac Noir seems to be a bit subdued. It's closer to the skin experience in comparison to the Tabac Exquis. Now this is comparing the 2 when it comes to their performance. But sometimes that's a personal thing. I might be experiencing a fragrance differently because sometimes I mention something is, calm on me. Some people say it's beast mode, so I would test it out. Don't judge a book by its cover. It's not like super, close to the skin that it doesn't perform. It does perform, but for me, Tabac Exquis is a little louder than Tabac Noir. But it's a really delicious combination of the honey, which actually has a bit of animalic touch, which is also kind of reminding me a little bit of Fumerie Turque from Serge Lutens. And Fumerie Turque to me also is slightly animalic, and I feel we're getting that from the honey that's in here, because the honey tobacco combo is really, really delicious. I like that about it. In fact, I have a whole video on the channel of honey tobacco fragrances, go check that video out. It's not similar to tobacco honey from the House of Guerlain, by the way. That is a completely different fragrance. There's also Back to Black. For me, the Tabac Noir from Caron is more close to Fumeri Turk from Serge Lutens in comparison to those other honey tobacco fragrances. But it does get leathery for sure. It's sweet. It's a bit musky and animalic, but a little close to the skin, which is a bit disappointing also in comparison to the Fumeri Turk. But overall, though, it's a really great scent. Maybe you like it more than you like Tabac Exquis. I like the fact that Tabac Exquis is more gourmand, plus also holiday spices comes to mind, and that is really, really delicious about that. There's some floral touches in Tabac Exquis. There's also some smoky touches like incense, in addition to all of its tobacco glory there. So it's resins, it's incense, frankincense, smoky, of course ambery, gourmand spicy, and of course tobacco. So in addition to chocolate in Tabac Exquis, you also have cocoa or cacao. So it's an overdose of the chocolatey qualities, which I quite like. And I feel like the amber, the smokiness, the powdery touches, there's also iris. Everything is blended super delicious. I feel like if you like a gourmand tobacco experience, Tabac Exquis is definitely for you to try. Let's go ahead and quickly smell these two and also compare a little bit more side by side as well. But if you have tried the two Serge Lutens fragrances, and even though if you don't compare them to the way these two Caron fragrances smell, the ideas might be similar. Does that make sense? So if you're familiar with them, you will kind of have an idea of how these are. But I'm smelling the Tabac Exquis, man. It is really, really phenomenal smell. It's so amazing. So sexy as well. Really, really extremely sexy. I do wish both of the fragrances were a little more potent, and as I said, Tabac Noir seems to be a bit subdued against Tabac Exquis. But man, it is such a, I don't want to use the word orgasmic, but it's a bit orgasmic here, the way this thing smells. Really nicely done. And Tabac Noir, on the other hand, very much reminding me a little bit of Fumeri Turk. It's that honey, tobacco thing and leather together that has that slight animalic twist to it. I wouldn't say both the Tabac Noir and the Fumeri Turk from Serge Lutens, Caron's Tabac Noir, Fumeri Turk, Serge Lutens, are really animalic, but there's a bit of funk in there, and I feel like honey does contribute to a bit of funkiness. I don't know if you guys ever noticed that, but the more you wear honey, you'll experience some slight musky funk, and that's coming from the honey that's in both of the fragrances. Again, it's not a bad fragrance. It's really, really super delicious. I much prefer the Fumeri Turk over the Tabac Noir, but if I only had Tabac Noir, there was no such thing as Fumeri Turk. This would be a really, really great fragrance. I just would wish that it was a little more potent than what I'm getting. But really, both of them, I think, high quality. I still prefer Tabac Exquis to be my favorite because the composition itself is just perfectly done. The only thing I wish with Tabac Exquis, as I said, was a bit more potency, a bit more beast mode qualities. But it's not an extrait de parfum, it's an eau de parfum. And sometimes you don't need something to be super beast mode, super intense. I like those, but I think maybe this fragrance, now that I've had experience working on the Juice Box collaboration, if they had increased the oils, the fragrance might have not smelled similar. So they kind of went with what it is, because when you increase a fragrance's oils and lower the alcohol content in it, it does change in smell. And so I think that's what they've gone with. Let me show you a little bit of the presentation of these two fragrances as well. They come in boxes like this. The brand, Caron, I think since 2020 have changed ownership, and I'm glad they stuck around, and you know, a wealthy parent company bought them out and they redid everything. Of course, the bottles are changed as well. And so thankfully they're around. One of my favorite fragrances of all time, Pour un homme de Caron, is still around. They kept it. And of course they've got a luxury collection, because this fragrance here, Tabac Exquis and Tabac Noir, including the Tabac Blanc and Tabac Blonde, are part of their, you know, upper end, higher end collection. But this is how the 100 ml boxes are back here. And they are all refillable bottles, by the way, as you can see back there. They do sell refills. So if this bottle finishes, I will be able to refill it, or buy a refill for it. Wow, maybe I can't refill this. Yeah, there it is. So it does come apart, and I can refill this. I can wear it as much as I want, and refill this thing and appreciate the smell. So maybe I will buy myself a refill when I'm in Europe. But the name of the fragrance is right there, and the name of Tabac Noir is here. So yeah, that's it pretty much for you guys. If you've tried these two fragrances from Serge Lutens, Écrin de Fumée, which I kind of sort of connect to Tabac Exquis, Fumerie Turque, which I connect more to Tabac Noir, but when I'm picking the fragrances, I would prefer Tabac Exquis over Écrin de Fumée, even though I appreciate and enjoy Écrin de Fumée. I think Tabac Exquis is a much more delicious fragrance in comparison to the Écrin de Fumée. But comparing Tabac Noir to Fumerie Turque, I do appreciate Fumerie Turque a lot more. And for me, also, I think I'll say it again, Tabac Noir and Fumerie Turque are closer in smell in comparison to Tabac Exquis and Écrin de Fumée. But the ideas are similar. Now I'm on to discovering Tabac Blonde and Tabac Blanc. Hopefully I'll be able to purchase those two fragrances and do a video on the entire collection of 4 Tabac fragrances from CARON. But if you guys have had experience with all of these fragrances, including the Tabac Blanc and Tabac Blonde that I did not talk about here, do let us know. Tabac Blonde has been around forever. It is really amazing. It's a masterpiece. It stood the test of time as a classic fragrance, and a lot of people really enjoy that fragrance. I believe it has gotten reformulated throughout the years. I don't think it smells similar to what it smelled like, 20 years ago or 15 years ago and things like that, because I feel like it's been reformulated. It probably doesn't even smell like what it smelled like 40 years ago or 50 years ago, because ingredients keep changing and fragrances have to get reformulated, sadly. But they've kept it around, and so it must still be smelling good that they keep it around and people keep buying it. Sometimes when fragrances get reformulated so much and it doesn't smell alike and they keep it around, nobody's buying it, they decide to discontinue the fragrance because it's changed so much from when it was first launched to what it smells like now. They smell nothing alike. But anyway, those are my thoughts on these two fragrances. They're really great fragrances. Check them out. It's a house that I really adore and admire. Really dates back and means a lot to me, especially since my dad used to wear Caron, Pour un Homme de Caron. It was one of his favorite fragrances, and I used to steal sprays from him because he loved that lavender, warm, ambery, vanillic thing. Musky as well. Yeah, I have a video on the latest Parfum concentration of Caron, Pour un Homme de Caron. If you haven't caught that video, please go catch that as well. But that's all I have for you today, comparing Tabac Exquis by CARON with Tabac Noir of CARON. If you want me to do a video on the 2 additional Tabac fragrances, do let me know. Do let me know also if you have these 2 Tabac fragrances from CARON. Also, if you have these 2 Tabac fragrances from Serge Lutens, Écrin de Fumée and Fumerie Turque. Fumerie Turque, guys, I recently repurchased from France. It is such a sexy fragrance. Nothing like Tabac Exquis, but more like Tabac Noir, as I was saying. But the Fumerie Turque is amazing. It's a fragrance I wore for the first time over 10 years ago in the Serge Lutens bell jars. That's when it used to be in that collection. Then it was brought into this collection. So Serge Lutens is a bit confusing what they do with their bottles and fragrances, moving from one collection to another. Recently, I also bought Arabi from Serge Lutens, which used to be in the regular bottles. Now it's moved into the bell jars. Yeah, it's so confusing. But yeah, if you want me to do a video on the rest of the Tabac fragrances from CARON, do let me know. Put a comment down below. Either way, thanks so much for watching today. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.